Okay, yesterday I told you that there have been countless Russians caught on tape, on video, stuffing multiple ballots at ballot boxes in Vladimir Putin's recent, quote, massive re-election win with, quote, 77% of the vote. And we showed you a bunch of those different videos on yesterday's program. Just an incredible win, as it's been reported. 77% for Putin is a record high in any Russian presidential election in history, except for the fact that dozens and dozens of people are on camera just stuffing piles of ballots in the ballot boxes. So the White House was asked about this, and the apoplexy with which Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders was so obviously staying away from any actual criticism or even acknowledgement of the undeniable reality that this re-election was a total sham scam. And again, that doesn't mean Putin would have lost, but I don't think anybody who is a clear-thinking, rational individual believes that Vladimir Putin got 77% of the vote with 67% turnout. Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders asked about this, and it is just absolutely fantastic. Take a listen.
I'm sorry?
Does the White House believe that the election in Russia was free and fair?
Look, in terms of the election, we're focused on our elections. We don't get to dictate how other countries operate. What we do know is that Putin has been elected in their country, and that's not something that we can dictate to them how they operate. We can only focus on the freeness and the fairness of our elections, something we 100% fully support, and something we're going to continue to do everything we can to protect, to make sure bad actors don't have the opportunity to impact them in any way.
Yeah, except you're not even doing that. You're not even doing what you can do to prevent other actors from impacting our elections. But remember, the question was the Russian election free and fair? And the answer was, we don't control other countries' elections. Our focus is our elections, and we can't tell Russia what to do. Wait, she answered a question that wasn't actually asked, and reporters need to get together and hold her accountable. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, that's an answer, but it's an answer to a question that was never asked. What about answering the question we did ask, which is, what is the belief of the White House? What is the position of the White House and of the president with regard to the fairness of the election that took place? If the question had been, does the White House believe that the United States should interfere in Russian elections? Oh, well, okay, she answered and she says, no, the United States shouldn't interfere in Russian elections. But that was never the question. And in another clip, it's just another example of the same thing. Republican Senator John McCain accurately called the recent 77% re-election of Russian President Vladimir Putin a sham election. What does the White House think about what John McCain said? Here is Sarah Huckabee Sanders once again.
The White House disagree with Senator McCain's characterization of this as a sham election.
We disagree with the fact that we shouldn't have conversations with Russia. There are important topics that we should be able to discuss, and that is why the president's going to continue to have that dialogue. At the same time, we've been very clear in the actions that we've taken that we're going to be tough on Russia, particularly when it comes to areas that we feel where they've stepped out of place.
What do you think about McCain calling it a sham election? Anybody who says we shouldn't talk to Russia is wrong. What? No, nobody asked about that. Nobody asked you about talking to Russia. The question is, Senator McCain called it a sham, and we want to know what the White House thinks about that. If the question had been, does the White House believe we shouldn't be talking to Russia? Then the answer given by Sarah Huckabee Sanders might have made even like a tiny bit of sense. Now, here is where it gets really, really good. And that has to do with Donald Trump's response to this election of Vladimir Putin, compared to not only what the White House claimed was going to be Donald Trump's response, but also compared to what Donald Trump was advised to do in response to this so-called election of Vladimir Putin, and that's what I want to talk about next. Today's program is sponsored in part by Blinkist. The entire idea behind Blinkist and the service they provide is perfect for me. and I assume really great for a lot of people in our audience too. If you watch this show, you know I read a lot of nonfiction books, and Blinkist is an app that takes nonfiction books and it distills the most important points and insights from the book down to a powerful package of information, which can be read or listened to in about 15 minutes on your mobile device or tablet. You can zip through books really quickly. I still think it's great to absorb the wisdom of books by reading them slowly and in their entirety. Deep reading is what it's called. But not everybody. I know I don't have the time to read all the nonfiction books that I really want to. So for the ones I can't read, Blinkist is the next best thing. Huge selection for one low flat rate. You get access to thousands of books. You can switch between text and audio, both online and offline. And you also get personalized recommendations based on books you've already chosen. Join over 4 million people already using Blinkist. It made the iTunes Best Apps of 2017 list. It's free to try, but you can also get a 20% discount on a yearly membership by visiting Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you're watching on YouTube, we've put a link in the description underneath the video. Again, that's Blinkist.com/PAKMAN.